So there's this guy, he wrote on Reddit saying that he's embarrassed when his girlfriend asks to dine out at nice places with dress codes, but then when they get there, she ends up ordering chicken tenders and fries. So he told her it's a waste of time and money to order, quote, little kid food. Does he have a point? Are we with him?
This one is a little complicated. I get what you're saying. I get you'll be like, well, why are we even going here? And he's complaining about the money that he's spending. It's the way that he's saying it that makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel like he's quite condescending towards his own partner. I would never talk about my partner in such a belittling way, like, oh, we're going here to have little kid food, right? It's like, I don't know that he's the nicest guy. I will say, if you're gonna go out somewhere, it is a personality trait to have an openness and a willingness to try something new. So I think maybe she could work on that a little bit. I don't know if she has dietary restrictions or what have you, but if I was with someone who had a totally different palate than me and wasn't even open, that's probably a recipe for disaster for that whole relationship. So I don't think it's about the chicken tenders and fries. It's about, are you willing and open if that's something your partner wants you to try? So I think for that case, they both bear a little bit of blame.
Can I talk about this guy just for a second? He's saying that a restaurant with a dress code, a fancy restaurant with a dress code that serves chicken fingers and fries for $15. Have you ever heard of a restaurant like that? he's hamming it up. And he thinks he's so fancy, and he's trying to make her feel bad for not being as fancy. That's why I agree with you, Mel, about that. And also chicken fingers, tenders, and French fries. I think they're very delicious. They're very delicious.
Would it bug you more if you knew that she's going in there, she's ordering from the kids' menu? Because that's what I'm suspecting.
Do you think she's ordering?
Oh, could be.
That was my suspicion.
Yeah, could be.
And I mean, that might be a turnoff. If my date, my guy, was ordering from the kids' menu, I would be like, I'm out on that. Sorry. I'm just picturing that.
Ketchup, can I have some ketchup?
Yeah, it's gross. Don't you think?
And a bib and a high chair.
I do think there is a time to order from the kids menu.
Okay.
Maybe not at the fancy restaurant, but like the hotel kids menu always is great.
Yeah.
That's where you find the mac and cheese and the pizza and the fries.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
Just saying.
All right.
Maybe I'm the little kid.
You know what, though? There's, big picture and all of this stuff. But early on, when I was in a long-term relationship, I was dating somebody whose family came from a lot of wealth. So I was the tag-along that got to come around once in a while when they would go out to fancy restaurants, and I learned about a whole new way of living and eating. And so food is a portal to culture. It's a portal to understanding how the 1% live, and also like how to conduct yourself in those environments. I was never raised to eat fancy. So the idea of what you wear, how you hold cutlery, I learned a lot about life in those examples. And I also did learn about, how to order, what to eat. Probably my first most fancy, meals were probably in that relationship. So there's a lot of learning that comes with food. So I would say to this woman, leave the guy. Let's leave the guy, get your girlfriends, and go out. And if you can spoil yourself once in a blue moon, you're gonna learn a lot about the world, not just about chicken tenders.
I love that,
I love that. And I think that, to your point, it's probably one of the sexiest things about Jacek, my husband, and I am the person who talks badly about him all the time, but I'm gonna say something nice about him today.
I'm listening.
And so one of the sexiest things about him is, since we've been married, but right away, he got thrown into the Chinese diet and the Chinese cuisine. So he will eat the guts, the feet, the frogs, the snakes, all the things that we typically hide from white people.
Yeah.
He is fully and he is like an expert. He has a fully Chinese palate, and I find that very sexy.
That is sexy.
I will say, we don't open the cupboard to people who look like him very often, but he proved that he's earned that right.
Do you remember Simon and I were lucky enough to be invited out with your parents and Jacek, and this must have been 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a plate
of... It was a little test for you.
It was a little test. Well, there was a plate of goose feet that came around. And I think I was just trying to be polite. And Simon immediately picked one up, and I think he ate it with his hands and was commenting on how much he liked it. And so on. And so now I am in turn very much attracted to my partner because of that. But I didn't realize it until you said it. It's really, really great. Because you know when you get like invited to a place, a wedding, for instance, or some sort of engagement, and they're like, any dietary restrictions or anything you're fussy about? My answer is always, everything's fine except for little birds. I don't want to eat like a little bird, you know, like a quail, something that looks like a bird on a plate with all the parts.
Okay.
So,
That is terrifying.
yeah, a little. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's why
terrifying.
I put it on the little card.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.